Okay, well, hello and welcome to Free Code Camp. My name is Ayon. I'm a software developer with My Consulting, and I'm here to give a very brief talk about Git, GitHub, and Hacktoberfest. And afterwards, hopefully we can work on some pull requests and get that t-shirt. First of all, I would just want to say Techlahoma is a great organization. It has a ton of resources on Git. There's at least these 4 YouTube videos out there that you can check out on your own time to learn more about Git and GitHub. And that's why I'm going to just give a brief talk on this since there's already material out there. So please do check that out. So what is Git and GitHub? So Git is a program. It is a distributed version control system. It was created by Linus Torvalds, and it's a command line utility. It's on your computer as an installed program. It's free and open source. It makes every directory on your computer a full-fledged repository. So we also have GitHub, which is actually a company. It's hosted on servers, and it provides hosting for software development and allows version control on the web. You can put your code on GitHub, and other developers can go to that web page and download it. There are alternatives to GitHub, like Bitbucket, GitLab, AWS Code Commit, amongst others. So it's the month of October, and Hacktoberfest is here. It's a good way to learn how to use Git and GitHub if you've never heard of this before or never used it. It's also a good opportunity to contribute to open source software, and you get a free t-shirt out of it, as long as you make, this year it's 4 pull requests, and as long as they get accepted. So you can sign up at the link I provided here, as long as you have a GitHub account. And if you don't, after this talk, we can set that up for you. So how can you use GitHub for your own projects? Let's say you're working on some code on your computer and you want to try something out, but you don't want to handle a bunch of different files with different file names. You can use Git. The first command you'll need will be git init, and then the repository name, the name of the repository that you want to create. This will initialize a new directory with that name and allow all the Git functions in that folder. After that, you can move into that folder and start working with Git on your project. You can create a file or modify a file, and you can use Git status, and it'll show whether there's been any modifications. So I can sort of show you what that looks like on the command line. So I'm in a current directory called linked list. That directory has 3 different files at the moment. One of these files is a linked list implementation using Python. Let's say I wanted to add a feature. The best way to do so would be to create a branch, and you can do that with the command git branch option B, and then pick a name for that branch. Let's say I want to create a method called isEmpty. So I'm going to call this branch isEmpty. Oh. That did not work. Let's see. So I already have 2 branches. Let me just switch to the branch I already have. You can do that with git checkout. And before I hit the command, I have Visual Studio Code up here. This is the linked list Python file implementation. There's a bunch of to-do code down here. One of the methods I want to implement is the isEmpty method for this linked list. And you'll notice that it's not implemented yet, but as soon as I check out that branch, Visual Studio shows that that method's implemented there. So it allows you to switch between different versions of your files. And that's great. You can also contribute to a repo. You can find repos on GitHub, search open source projects, anything you'd like to contribute. To contribute to an open source project, you first fork that repo. You'll see that on GitHub. There'll be a button that says fork. And when you click that fork button, what it'll do is it'll create a copy of that project onto your personal GitHub. Then from there, you can clone that project to your local machine. You can make changes, make commits, and then you can push those changes to the GitHub repo, but it's your GitHub repo. And then if you want to see if the original owner of the repo is interested in those changes, you can submit a pull request. And so I can show what that looks like. If you go to GitHub, there's the fork button up here. If you click it, it's created that project under my GitHub name. And if you click clone or download, it'll give you a URL, which then you can use with the command line. Let's see. So I can say git clone and clone that repo. And now in my current working directory, I'll have that code, which is in this case just a README file. From there, I can, navigate to that directory either through the file system or open that file using an editor. It's using Xcode. Don't use Xcode. You can use Visual Studio to open that, modify that file, and then make your commits. So here's some useful links. The GitHub guide is really good. I was just reading it yesterday. It's awesome. If you don't have Git on your computer after this talk, we can download it and create a GitHub account if you don't have one. And I would encourage you to check out those Techlahoma videos I mentioned in the beginning of the talk. Those are awesome resources. And that's it. That's all I had. Thanks.